So we're just going through a session. It's kind of a long story, but I wanted to share my experience growing up, and it's still here. The whole energy of it's not really. It doesn't feel like it's as intense as before, but I would remember many times what it's like to it's definitely I learned it as rooted in invalidation. Parents see you as you are. Parents see you as this. They want you. Or I mean, it's not really that actually. Like it's you think parents see you as you are. They're like they give you stuff, they buy you things, they provide you shelter and all those things. So it feels safe. But so basically, my parents were there, but they weren't there. So they're there for other things, but not the things that I needed. So, and this isn't trying to sound exclusive at all. It's trying not to be, separate or anything like that. But I think as queer people, LGBTQI to whatever the abbreviation, I just say queer. I think we chose to come here to balance these feminine, masculine energies. When to be soft, when to be hard, when to be assertive, when to be receptive. Not just in a sexual way, of course, but it's in the more, we're here to. This is why there's been this push for how many decades, since the 60s at least, Stonewall, to push for equality. But that's just the external stuff, right? That's external validation, wanting to have equality, wanting to be seen, wanting to feel like we belong. I think it goes both ways. And I feel it goes both ways because it's like it all comes down to energy. When I was in the session, there was someone who said that it kind of triggered me a little bit, and it was like they were saying that feminine men don't what do you call this? The way I interpreted it was that kind of like to wait for others masculine. I mean, I'm pretty sure they were looking at it from their own perspective. They really see it. It is energy. At the same time, though, as queer people, I think that because of the energies we came here to be in, it doesn't matter whether it's being bisexual or homosexual or trans or intersex or two-spirited or all the rest. It's working with the both energies and that duality and trying to really learn what that means in an earthly, very 3D so-called, what we call it, 3D perspective, 3D existence. Reality can change. I feel for me, reality changes based on how we choose to make it, right? You've seen this, you've heard this many, 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 many times. But it's really the belief. I think this is what this person was talking about, it's the energies. So what really triggered me is the whole the thing that came up was just like, is this, am I are you talking about queer men? Are you talking about gay men? Are you talking about that, because it was like triggering because it was a true thing. Because there's a lot of us that I find, at least between gay men, it's like this whole, we're kind of waiting on each other, right? We've taken on, it kind of sometimes, that there are times where it become imbalanced, where it's just like, there's too much. If you in the past 50 years or so, they have these terms like top, bottom, versatile. It's all in the sexual stuff. It's all very, it's all too much sex. Kind of like, we would always ask that question. It's like, are you top? Are you bottom? Are you verse? Are you blah, 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 all those things. Ultimately, of course, that doesn't matter. However, there's a need that comes from that, which is why have that? Why have, it's not even about top bottom, it's more about the energy we put out based on our personal beliefs. And before people would ask me, are you top bottom? And I would say I'm verse. Because to me back then it was like, oh, there's nothing more homosexual than that, because it's the same. It's equal, right? However, I noticed at times that my experience, personal experience, I was in a swim team or I was in other communities, and it was just kind of like, it's just waiting game sort of thing. But where does that come from? I've kind of processed it a little bit, and I felt that there's a waiting game because we're waiting for that savior. It just, waiting for someone to save us. It's that, I mean, it kind of is a stereotype that's why there's stereotypes that also come from that stereotype that, oh, if you're a lesbian, for example, it's like, you sweep the girl off your feet. If you're a man, it's like you wait for your knight in shining armor. It's very much, it's almost like we've taken on the opposite role, or rather the opposite energy, and then take it to a different level. I think that particularly what's happening now is we're learning to balance all that and embracing both sides of ourselves, divine feminine, divine masculine. So that way it's no longer about being queer. The attraction is the attraction. That's ultimately what it is. Like, that's the attraction. Whatever you're attracted to, you're attracted to it. That's how it is. Because we all have, as humans, these perceptions, right? We think this is this way. We think this should be this way. We think this is because of our upbringing, because of our orientation or sexual orientation or our beliefs, all those things. Tying into this, I mean, I've seen this again and again where it's like, when it comes to being queer, it's like, well, there's this, the ego comes in, right? It's like, well, you can't actually say that. It's just like, you can't compare your beliefs. Like, when I see beliefs in this case, is you can't compare your belief in a faith or belief in a god or something like that, or whatever your religion is. That's what this is, what I'm referring to, compared to something biological. So it's almost like the ego is using both sides of the equation, or anything it can get its hands on, so for the sake of preservation. It's like more separation. And I've come to realize that it's like, there were times where I internally felt very traumatic about it. It's just like I had a friend who was like, wouldn't go to Pride Week, the parade, because he wasn't into that. And to me, I was left to assume, or rather I made an assumption, not left to assume, I made an assumption that it's like, so you don't want to, but that was like years ago, like over a decade ago. Then we had talked about it again, and I was just like, oh, he actually knows about RuPaul. He knows about certain things. It's just like, oh, that's interesting. So people have actually, I don't know for how long now, but there are people out there who, when it comes from a genuine place, you're willing to see anything. Because usually there's a separation. There was so much separation in the past. It's been happening for a long time. I mean, yes, but for the community that I've seen that I was in, there was a separation of like, it's like, you're not a good gay guy if you're not very gay if you don't know this TV show. You don't know RuPaul. You don't know this. You don't know that. How can you be gay? Right? So there's a label that's imposed on each other that it's like, do you have to be this way? Right? Because it's identification. Because it's like, there's this trauma. There's this resistance to like, or they just don't know it. And there's this expectation, at least for me, there was this expectation. It's like, well, if you really want to be my friend, then you should know a little bit about myself. Meaning this particular hardcore, like, this ego belief that it's like, this is my identity. And if you don't accept it, if you don't do what I do, if you don't follow the things that I do, we're not friends. Fuck you. And it's like, and it was very, very, very separative. It was very like, it's like, I'm laughing at it because it's like, I would have those beliefs, or I would have those thoughts at least. There's a part of me that feels there's that thing, there's a residual sort of feel like, you wonder, it's like, are you feeling accepted? Because it's all rooted in validation and acceptance, right? We know that we are accepted, but we forget that we've forgotten that we're accepted. We've forgotten that we're connected. Acceptance, connection is, to me, it feels the same thing. When you're accepting someone, acceptance, unconditional love, there is this oneness, right? So, but when you grow up feeling like it's like, oh no, you're queer, or you're gay, what, you're lesbian, you're trans, what? That's impossible. Even if they don't really say anything, the back of your mind, there's this assumption that it's like, oh, I don't know if you're going to accept it because it's not the norm, so-called norm. It's not the, what do you call this? It's not the majority, right? That's usually what we were trained to and conditioned to believe, that the majority counts, the minority doesn't. That's why queer people, at least in Canada, if you look at statistics, they call us sexual minorities. But why is that? The wording itself can be kind of like convoluted. And I guess that's not the right word for that. But maybe it can be sort of like, what? Minority. What does that mean? I'm less important? So there's that subconscious belief that if it's minority, it's minor, little. So you're little. But if you're majority, then you're big. You must be important. So there's those things that are attached to that meaning, and that value and the meaning, and that and the identification of those towards that. So we came here to learn, particularly not to be against being exclusive, but it's like, as queer people, I'm just admitting it to myself that it's like, yeah, we came here to, we also trigger and also raise the vibration. We're part of it because even if it's like, it seems very separatist, or it seems very triggering, or what people call it evil, there's a reason for it. It helps people, wake up. That's why even like terms like coming out has become this coined term. It's not even coined. It's just this thing that, a lot of things that have come through, that were here before also, through the LGBTQI2 community, and queer community, has come through and, added to that. We add to the collective. We add to the purpose of humanity. We add to the direction where humanity is in its trajectory towards remembering. So, yeah, I just wanted to share that. I feel very proud to have that in my life now, that it's like, but I also don't want to be the one to be told that it's like, oh, you guys have gone through so much. Or I heard this when I was young. I heard this once when I was young, several times actually. It's like, I grew up Catholic. So they would say like, I was told once, several times, that, oh, gay people are alone. They're lonely. It's like, I never believed in that, and I was just like, but then I kept hearing it, so I was like, there's a part of me, I was like, what? So there was a part of me to kind of attach itself to that belief, that it's like, yeah, it must be. It's not true. Because everything is energy, we know who we gravitate towards. We know who we don't gravitate towards. And because it's just resonance, it's resonance. It's connecting or not connecting, depending on your level of consciousness, your level of awareness, where you are. Even within the queer community, there are those who are still trying to seek validation, external validation. There are those who still want to, because it's all about really connecting, right? I think the essence behind it is wanting to connect because we want to remember. There's this push towards like, that right? Connection, like I said earlier, connection and acceptance. It's connected, right? So, yeah. So a bit of a light video today, but I think it's heavy for a lot of us still. It's like, especially with for trans people, it's there's a push for acceptance because we're seeking it, because there's an inner belief, and this is going to trigger some people probably, that the reason we seek something, we're looking for something, is because there's this inner core belief, a part of our inner core belief probably, but there's this belief that we don't have it. Right? There's this guy who's sometimes talks to me. I don't know if he's talking to me anymore, but I admitted to him, it's like we're in different we're in different like phases of our lives, different routes, different roads, whatever it is. However he takes it is not something I can control, but I was honest with him. I said that we're just in different paths, and he would every once in a while say that it's like, it's very typical where it's like he's seeking partnership. He wants partners, all that stuff. That's not wrong, but where he's at, I can sense his energy. It's like I feel it, and it's just like, there's a part of him that's missing, that it's like he needs to remember that, and it's just like, it's almost, yeah, you know that energy, right? It's like he's looking for something that wants to fulfill what he believes is half of him is missing, to put it lightly, like that. And it kind of just like, that I understand. I've been in that place before, and sometimes it's still there. There's some residual stuff there, but it's not something I would want. I would want someone who, because if he's believing that, or if he has that belief, as he has this belief right now, it's going to reflect and project onto me and the potential relationship we might have. I can sense it. I can sense it right away. I'm not trying to predict anything. I'm just like, I've seen that before. So I didn't block him or anything. I'm just like, when as he gets through all this stuff, as he grows and all that stuff, hopefully, I don't know, he'll eventually realize that it's like, the old beliefs are not going to work anymore. The old beliefs of like seeking things outside of yourself, as if like a partner is supposed to complete you, that's old stuff. But it doesn't mean we validate it. It just means that that's just where he is right now. We just see it as like, okay, I'm being there and just saying, okay, if he wants to talk to me, great. So that's fine. But in terms of like what I personally want, I have to honor that. That's not what I'm looking for. And even if I'm not even looking, I'm not looking either. It's yeah, I've actually deleted a lot of like these profiles. I've deleted them and just like, no. It's a waste of not energy. It's not even a waste. It's just I don't want that lower vibrational energy of neediness, of like wanting, seeking validation, seeking, It's almost like but I also don't want it to be complete opposite, which is like, I just don't need anybody else. It's like both are resistance, right? and that's not something that is resonating with me anymore. So, and it's just yeah, wherever I am now, I am here now. So, thank you for watching. Though I think that's it for today. If you'd like to share what you'd like to share, go ahead and post it in the comments below. Whatever you want to do, it's like and subscribe to this video, not because you wanted to like it, I'm looking for likes, but if it is something that you like, it's an energy thing as well. I'm starting to that's another thing I'm realizing. It's like, okay, so if you do like it, then you click on like. If you don't like it, don't click on like. That's totally fine, right? It's part of as we get more and more, as we change in consciousness and as we change in awareness, people are elevating. But basically, yeah, as we change our energies, as we continue to grow, integrity becomes a part of it as well. So I can only hope, not this hope, like I can only hope that this has provided a bit of an insight for those who either know this intellectually, fine, but I think it's more about I'm sharing this because for me, this is something that has come up, and it's like a reminder to myself that it's like, okay, being present and aware of those triggers and really sitting with it and allowing for it. If you have any questions, let me know. And if any of the videos for meditative stuff, let me know if it helps you. I'm not sure where I'm headed with that kind of stuff, but yeah, we'll see where it goes. Just being here in the now. Thank you. See you later.